What we're going to be talking about today based on our conversation is every gym owner, every fitness studio owner listening, listen up. There's going to be a fantastic 45 minutes. I'm going to show you how the studios we work with get literally infinite return on whatever dollar they spend on advertising, how you can get 3 to 5 sales per every sale that you actually make, and how you can get to the 2 things that matter most to any business owner. Get to the point where you can't take any more customers and have the business running without you. So that's what we're learning here today. So let's start with that. So now they know this is what we're in for.
At Active Life, we believe that the healthcare clinic of the future is the gym.
Everybody starts with the best case scenario in mind.
Never sell anything to anybody who is not in the market for what you have.
The only reason we work out is to create the opportunity to recover.
And the healthcare provider of the future is the coach.
And this is why you guys need to get paid well, because what you're doing is really, really hard work.
Podcast. I've been excited to have this conversation with you since we chatted about a month ago. And I think that you're going to shine some incredible light around some really difficult topics.
I sure hope so, man. Sure hope so.
I mean, the studio you're in right now, you're already winning. Look at that place. That is
pretty cool. Huh?
That is really cool. I need to talk to our media team and our marketing team and tell them we need to move these windows and do something in here.
So that actually was windows. These were windows. We boarded them up so we could do this and have a dark room. So we have no windows in this particular room. But yeah, this was all floor to ceiling window.
There you go. See, I gotta just board it up. I gotta turn pro like you. So, Mike, I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience, because while your company might be one that they're familiar with, and it might not be, I don't know that they're all familiar with you. And I would love for you to just kind of tell them, how did you get into the business of helping gyms with their marketing, with their customer acquisition, and with their sales?
You got it. And before I do that, just to let people know why they should care, what we're going to be talking about today based on our conversation is every gym owner, every fitness studio owner listening, listen up. There's going to be a fantastic 45 minutes. I'm going to show you how the studios we work with get literally infinite return on whatever dollar they spend on advertising, how you can get 3 to 5 sales per every sale that you actually make, and how you can get to the 2 things that matter most to any business owner. Get to the point where you can't take any more customers and have the business running without you. So that's what we're learning here today. So let's start with that. So now they know this is what we're in for. Now that you know that, how I got into it, I was in the fitness industry for about 7 years. Was a personal trainer. I opened up my own personal training company. From there, I realized the part that I loved the most was the sale and the marketing of it. I did love getting people in shape, of course, but I just found it real fascinating. Started a marketing company, but I got a little cocky. I thought I could help anyone and everyone. So I took on dentists, lawyers, doctors, everyone. And here's the thing, I was able to help them because marketing's marketing and sales is sales, business is business. That's why you see, Shark Tank guys and Marcus Lemonis, they can go into any business with no experience and be able to really help handle the business side of it, right? However, marketing myself was very difficult because all of my content had asterisks next to it, right? Like I was like, okay, if you're a dentist, this works really good for you. But if you're a lawyer, not so much, right? So it was very hard to deliver a consistent message that is valuable to everyone. And so I picked a niche and I married the 2 things I love the most, which is driving revenue, sales and marketing, and fitness. I love those 2 things. So now we help fitness studios throughout the entire world, over 2,000 fitness studios and gyms and 50 different franchises grow and scale their companies to those 2 points, max capacity and running the gym without them having to be there.
You just did a masterful job of giving people a reason to listen. And that's exactly why I wanted to have you on today, because it's whether people realize it or not, what you just did was a sale. You sold them that they should stick around here and listen to this. And I think that that's something that is just so valuable that we're going to learn about here. So I appreciate it.
Well, you're always selling. Everyone's always selling, no matter what. You're always influencing. We don't like the idea of that because we feel like it's manipulative or we feel like we always have an agenda. But the truth is, everyone's always selling no matter what. If I want my child to go to bed early tonight, I'm selling her on that, right? Unless I tell her to do it because I said so. We can do that too. But even that's selling. It's just hard selling. But if I want selling where they feel like they got a good end of the deal, I don't just tell them because I said so. If I want them to be sold on the idea of going to bed early so that they go to bed excited and they make sense of it and we go to bed smiling at each other, then I've got to sell them on going to bed, right? And that's just really sales to me. And this goes in any fashion, whether you're selling something for money or you're selling time or you're selling an idea, right? Sales to me is basically being able to quickly identify what the overall outcome is. What's the desired outcome for the person that you're talking to? Not for me, but for them. Does what I have solve that outcome? If it doesn't, I shouldn't sell it, right? You shouldn't sell your program to people that don't need it. That's bad sale. Like when I hear people say, I could sell ice to Eskimos, they don't need ice. Like you should move. You should go to Arizona, sell ice to them. We need ice, right? So I hate when people, as soon as somebody says that in an interview, like I already exclude them out, because in my head, I'm thinking, you're selling because you think selling is cool. I want you to sell because you believe in the program, you believe in the product, and you truly want to help people. And that's really all that matters. If you do that well, you'll outsell the people that can sell ice to Eskimos, because those people won't come back for a second sale. They won't refer you business, but mine will, because I'm solving real problems. So, wanting to convince your wife that the guys are coming over for poker tonight, wanting to get a win-win scenario over what movie we're going to watch tonight. And that's not saying she's not going to get it. Sometimes that might mean the sale is, how about this? You pick the movie tonight, I get next week. That could be a sale, right? That's a sale. That's a negotiation. So if you get better at it, well, then your whole life's better. My marriage is great. My relationship with my kids is great. My parents, everybody, because I communicate in a way that both of us feel really good after the conversation. And that's really what sales is.
Well, and part of that, Mike, I think is because you're not going to try to sell your wife to watch a movie that you know she's going to hate just because you're going to love it.
Yeah.
No, I think we would enjoy watching this together. It would make for good conversation afterwards. And we talk about this on the show before. People who've listened know, and it's so great to hear somebody else who has been in the game longer than I have, who has been, selling ethically to people for a long time, repeat it and really add some flavor to it. So I appreciate that. And I want people to know, right before this show started, one of the other reasons why I didn't even know this about you, but I'm excited that this is the truth. One of the reasons I was excited to speak to Michael today is you came straight from lunch with your daughter.
Yeah.
And to me
today.
Yeah.
No, breakfast with my son.
Oh, breakfast with your son. I apologize.
Very close.
Wrong meal, wrong kid. But either way, the idea I'm getting at is, people listen to, I get this a lot myself. I'm not sure if you do, but people hear me talk a lot about the way that I believe selling should be done. And there's a lot of that doesn't feel extremely human. Like it feels like, okay, well, you're really like, you're rigid. You know exactly what you're going to say when you're going to say. And it's like, it's not quite like that. And they can't necessarily envision me being a family man with a wife and kids and things like that. And really all of what I do here is in part for that. And I think it's really cool that you share that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, knowing exactly what you're going to say, it's interesting. I think there's levels to everything. There's levels to basketball. There's level to piano. There's level to sales. In the very beginning, you should be using scripts pretty heavily because it guides you to structure your communication in a way to where it's maybe opposite of what we're trained to say, right? Like we're trained to say stuff like, don't quit, don't worry, don't be late, don't rush. All these things are negative, right? Don't drop that, don't forget. But in reality, if I were to say to you, let's say I'm spotting you or I'm pushing you to do something in the gym, and I say, come on, man, don't give up, don't stop. Is that as motivating as keep going, dude, keep going, let's go, push it, you got it, push it, keep going, go get it, right? And so don't forget's not the same as remember to. Don't quit's not the same as keep going. Don't be late's not the same as be on time. And so we tend to communicate the way our environment is. So if people say dude in your circle, you're going to say dude. That's just the way it is. You move to a country that has a different accent, your accent will start to fade. And the same thing goes with sales. We're so programmed by our environment. 98% of the people don't communicate the right way. They communicate incorrectly. And so when you use a script, you're training your brain to start communicating in the right way. But over time, you now are that, right? Like I used to live in Jersey, I spoke differently. Now I'm in Arizona. I speak more like an Arizonian than I did before. And so I don't necessarily need a script anymore. About 10 years in, you won't need one. And then it's not about knowing what to say. It's about wondering what they're going to say. And based on what they're going to say, and you're truly listening, you don't know what you're going to say until they finish what they say. And you think for a second, because your job is to really respond to where they're at, where they want to be.
Yeah, well, I think that the difference between the two, right? The scripting for me, when I started learning scripting years ago, was now this person's not going to tell me about why their cousin's sister's daughter liked that movie and why I should see it. Like that's not what we're here to talk about. And the script brings me back to the conversation. It's not like if they say this, well, then I'm going to answer with this. And what you just discussed, Mike, was really valuable because if you're doing a good job of selling, it means you're doing a phenomenal job of listening. And what happens for a good salesperson, or the way I would describe it, a good sales coach, because your job is to coach somebody into making that purchase if it's a good decision for them, is the gap between interpreting what they just said and having an appropriate response shortens when you've heard that response over and over and over and over again. And to me, if you're selling well and you're selling ethically, it feels like a conversation between two friends. It never feels like I'm just going to put you in a corner, agitate your pain, make you feel really bad, and then get you to buy something from me. Yeah, I got you. That's a loss.
Right.
That's not a win.
Right.
So I would love to hear from you, getting right into some tactical stuff. One of the biggest problems that gym owners face and coaches face, besides the idea of once that person's in front of them, now I got to get them to pay me money for something that I want to help them. How do I reconcile money and help? We'll get to that. How do they get that person in front of them?
Well, so the biggest problem, or how to get the person in front of them? Because I don't think they're the same.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. I think in some cases, getting a person in front of them is the biggest problem. But the overall biggest problem is that I've only met a few. So I'm comfortable saying 99% because I've only met a few that don't. 99% of people are worried about adding new members. And amateurs
when I want to make sure I'm clear on what you're saying. What you're describing is 99% of gym owners or coaches or business people in general are concerned about how do I get more people here?
Salespeople. Yeah. I mean, just amateurs. Amateurs in general in business, you call it dentists, right? But small businesses do this. Amateurs are worried about adding members. Professionals, the elite, don't play adding, they multiply. And multiplying so much better. Would you rather add money or multiply money?
Multiply money.
Yeah, exactly, right? So when you add, it's exhausting. It takes a long time. And you get to a point where eventually you can't outsell your attrition. You just can't. Because, if you have, let's say, a 10% attrition, if you have 100 members, you only need to get 11 members to grow the next month because you're going to lose 10 with 10% attrition. 10% of 100 is 10. You're going to lose 10. Mm-hmm. So you sell 11, you move forward one member. But you get to a point where if you have 500 members, 10% attrition, you have to get 51 members in order to outsell attrition. So you hit plateau pretty quickly if you just play the adding game. And you're not going to – here's a cool thing. Adding is just as easy as subtracting. It's just as easy to lose a member as it is to get a member. But it's almost impossible to divide. You're never going to lose. It's very rare for you to lose members in like division. Like you're going to subtract. It's like, okay, we lost a few. We got another one. We lost one. But you're never going to be like, because we lost this one, we lost these 5. And because we lost these 5, we lost these 7. And because we lost these, that's not going to happen. But with multiplying is very, very possible. But just too many people don't have the strategies to multiply. So you want me to give you some examples?
I would love that.
So I'll give you an example of how this one guy that runs this strategy, he had 1,000 members per 7 fitness studio locations. Average. It was about 1,000 member average.
I mean, he already had 7,000 total members across 7 locations.
Pre-COVID.
What kind of a gym was this?
Orange Theory Fitness.
Okay.
So average of about 3,000 square feet, maybe about 2,000 feet working space, probably even less actually. And out of the 7 locations, the average was about $118,000 in monthly recurring revenue. The average. That was the average. Now he's had this for 8 years, 9 years, something like that. It was a while. So he does such a good job of culture that he's had his directors, his studio managers. I mean, they've been leading for years, right? So he's been hands off. Now, the negative thing about being a part of the Orange Theory franchise is during the pandemic, they had to pause all billing, and they were restricted from making money off their members in any other way other than retail. They couldn't run virtual programs and keep charging. They couldn't do parking lot stuff during that time. Like, they were basically like, no, turn it off, billing off, right? So Macafora's revenue went down to $0.
Wow.
For months. In the middle of that, Dr. Sean, he broke both of his knees.
Did he break him, or did someone he owed money to come and break him?
No, he broke him. He was moving something big out of a moving truck and fell back, and it fell on him. And
hey, I was just making a joke. It sounds like a mafia problem. But go on.
Knowing him, Dr. Sean, if anyone's knees are getting broken, it's by him. He's a big guy.
Okay.
So he broke both, and keep in mind, he had 7 studios, but he had 13 other businesses that were all being affected by COVID. All of them. So all 20 of his businesses. Now I tell you that as a preface so you can see. You ever hear of billionaires that, like, they go bankrupt, lose it all, or millionaires, and then they're millionaires and billionaires back again in like a couple of years? And you ever hear of there's a stat, 72% of lottery winners go back to where they were financially inside of 14 months.
It's like athletes,
right?
When they retire.
So people have this financial thermostat. They didn't get there on accident, right? So a guy like Matt didn't get there on accident. Now, once August kicked in, Arizona was allowed to have people back, right? But he started at 0. He lost a lot of people. In fact, his 150 employees went down to 4.
Whoa.
Because they all got other jobs. This guy had to go through a hiring spree. He got some people back, but he had to go through a hiring spree. But out of the 7 studio managers he had, only 3 of them came back. He had to get 4 new ones. And he had to bring his revenue back up, and only like 16% of the old members came back. So he had to go get all new people.
1/6.
Now, 1/6. Now, here's the magical thing. You ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you how he did it. Before I'm going to Quentin Tarantino, let me tell you the end. Matt, in 2.5 months, post-COVID, is already back to all 7 studios, averaging $100,000 plus per month, average per studio, with a $35,000 average per studio monthly taking home, with all 7 studios running without him having to be there because he's already hired and trained up 4 studio managers back to where they need to be. Okay, that's the end game. Now let's tell you the middle. Okay, he multiplies. You'll never get there adding. You may never get there ever. In time, adding to 1,000 members, because you're never going to outsell attrition. If you have 900 members, you're going to have to get 91 new members through some sort of ad platform in order to offset 90 positives, right? So he multiplies. So here's what he does. When he goes and books an appointment, if I'm booking an appointment with you, I say, what time works best for you? You say 4 o'clock. I say, perfect. Actually, we have a couple extra spots open. Who are 2 people you'd like to bring with you? I'll give them passes on the house, and I'll give you guys some extra cool gifts when you get here. Who do you have? Wife, husband, blah, blah. Okay. When asking, if you read the book Ultimate Sales Machine, it's been statistically proven across several industries, just by asking, you have a 33% sale rate on the upsell. Ice or stamps. Would you like fries with that? Would you like to donate your change? 33% is the average. But if you don't ask, 0.
So what you're suggesting is one person's planning to come in. You should tell them, hey, look, I got some extra spots. If you want, you can bring some friends with you who should come with you to this meeting. And if they bring friends, great. If they don't bring friends, that's fine. They weren't going to bring friends if you didn't offer it to them.
Yeah, exactly, right? So now you get 1 out of 3 to bring a couple people. So now, let's say he doesn't care what cost per lead is. In fact, pros don't care what their cost per lead is. Nobody does. That's a real professional. You ever watch Shark Tank?
Yeah.
You ever watch The Profit?
Yeah.
Go back to your memory and tell me if you ever remember them asking once, what's your cost per lead? They ask what cost per acquisition is.
Yeah.
They ask what is the cost for you to acquire a member, a customer, but they don't ask what your cost per lead is.
True.
Because it doesn't matter.
Right. It doesn't. I
to
follow
a pro.
you.
To an amateur, Our cost per lead's $25. We need to get that to under 20.
Mike,
I get it.
Would you take 30 seconds and explain to the audience the difference between a lead and an acquisition?
Yeah. So you run an ad or on something on Facebook, or someone refers you somebody, someone shows interest in wanting to learn more about joining with you, or you reach out to somebody to want to sell them. That's a lead. It's an opportunity. They're not signed up yet, but we're in the process of now taking them to there. A member is someone that joined.
Right.
They give you money, the exchange is made.
Right.
Okay?
And so what you're describing is that you could have 1,000 leads and only sell 2 people. But if you sell those 2 people and the 1,000 leads only cost you $100, $200, it doesn't matter that you have that many leads and only 2 closed. It matters that you closed 2 leads at $500 a pop and your cost per lead was all that.
Well, yeah. And to take it on, let's multiply, right? So here's how we multiply. So most people wish to pay $1, $2 a lead. Average right now in the industry with the way the pandemic is, like if you can get a $15 cost per lead, that's pretty good. There's still certain parts of the country we're working with people that got $4 or $5 cost per lead. And there's people that are paying $60 cost per lead, right? Matt Kaffour is paying like $45 in some of his locations, but it doesn't matter. That's just like the price of entry. It really doesn't matter, right? It only matters when you're not multiplying. Then it matters. But if you're playing the adding game, it matters. If you're playing the multiply game, it doesn't matter. It never matters. So here's why. So let's say you had a $2,000 budget. You were paying $20 per lead. You got 100 leads, right? But if you make contact rate with about 70% of them, and you book about 60% of your leads, so you got about 60 people booked.
You talking 60% of the 70%?
No, of the 100. But let's go to make it easy. Let's pretend you booked 50%. Okay. So you got 50% of your people booked. But if you ask all of those people to bring someone and a third of them say, yeah, you're actually at 65 people booked.
Right.
Because 15 is 33% of 50, right? 30% technically. But so you got about 60, 65, 67 people booked. Now, if you were to still close at the same rate as an additional guy, a guy that adds, you're probably going to get about 10 of those members to sign up. Okay. But the 67 guy is going to get about 13, 14 to sign up. Now, why does that matter so much? Because the ad guy is going to go, great, we got a new member. The multiply guy goes, dude, we just got another line in the water. Because here's why. If I sign you up, there's a script for this, by the way. But I'm going to say, as soon as I sign you up, I'm going to say, awesome, Dr. Sean. Now, keep in mind, we built rapport. People that are listening to this, you have to remember, because you're going to hear this now, you're going to be like, oh, nobody's going to like that. You got to remember that for the last hour, we've smiled, we've high-fived, we've agreed on stuff. I've helped them. I've solved some problems. I enlightened them. We've got a really good rapport. So, Dr. Sean, for this example, imagine we've got excellent rapport. We've already been laughing at a couple things.
Yeah, I think the other thing they need to consider too is that you're not suggesting that this might work. It's something that you've seen work over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Oh, no, it works. Right. No, it works.
Right.
It works. The only way it doesn't work if you don't do it right. Well, right?
It's the adage of stop interrupting people who are doing what you're saying is impossible and just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I go to you. Hey, Dr. Sean. Awesome. So welcome so much to Loudermore Fitness. I'm excited to get you on board. Here's all the notes from today. And also, do you have your phone on you?
Yeah, I have my phone.
Take your phone out real quick. I'm going to show you something cool.
Oh, I thought it was like a hypothetical situation. I don't actually have my phone on me.
Okay, pretend you got it on you. Pretend, well, hypothetical.
Got it.
You got your phone. Okay, awesome. So you know how to get to your contacts? Open your contacts real quick.
Got it.
All right, awesome. So right here's a sheet of paper. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to get some gifts for you and for 5 other people. So what I need you to do is write down the names of 5 people that you'd like me to give some extra gifts to, including free weeks and some other cool stuff. And when I come back, I'll go ahead and get these over to them. Okay, so here's a pen, here's a paper. Just write down 5. If you have more, I'll give you a few more, but put down at least 5. Okay, we'll be right back. I leave. I go get whatever I got to get, a gift. It could be printed pass. It could be it could be my paperwork, whatever it is. I come back and go, awesome. Okay, so who do we have here? Now, no matter what, you're going to have people at least put 2. Mm-hmm. Nobody puts 1. It's like getting the cheapest wine. Nobody gets the cheapest wine. They at least get the second cheapest wine, right? Yeah. So no one's going to put 1. If you always put 2, right? And so you go, okay, so who's this? Okay, good. Well, we still have 3 more. Who else did you want? Now, you'll usually have people maybe put 1 or 2 more. Okay, from there, You explain, okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and reach out to them, let them know about the gift. Is that okay? Yes. Okay, fantastic. These numbers I can text. Yes, fantastic. From there, now you got 5 referral leads. Now, you got 5 referral leads. What do you think closes better? Leads from referrals or leads from a paid ad on Facebook?
Oh, it's got to be at least 3x on referral.
At least. You're right. So now you got 14 people signed up. That gave you an average of about 4 leads per. Okay, so now you got 52 new leads, but that are better leads than the ones that you got. 3 times better.
Question for you. Can I ask you a question about that? Those 52?
Yeah, well, really quick. 52 leads is better than the original 100 that you got because, like you said, they're 3x better. So it's like 156 leads. But go ahead. Yes.
No, that's outstanding. So a few questions about that. Number one is, how do I make sure that the people who they put on that list are local if I'm a gym owner?
Well, I mean, because you say they're going to have passes to come in, and that's part of it. Yeah, so that's part of the yeah. So you're making it clear, like to come in, we'll give them the gifts, so they got to be there.
And then what are you saying when you text those people? Hey, this is Mike from Loud Rumor Fitness. Your friend Johnny told me that you were a perfect person for us to give a gift to, that you might be interested in trying a class. How does that?
I'll start with their friend's name. So I'll say, hey, Corbin May told me to reach out to you. My name's Mike Arce with Orange Theory Fitness. He just signed up with us and volunteered you to get some of the cool gifts. He wants you to, number one, come and work out. Or if you want to know about the gifts, give me a call. They're 100% free, already done and taken care of by Corbin. Here's is this the best number to call you? And that's pretty much it. And then from there, you call them, right? They'll say, yeah, that's cool. You call them. And then from there, if you get, let's say, half of them, let's say a third of them to buy. Let's say a third. Okay. You just got 56 new leads. A third of that, it's going to be what? Like another 17?
Yep.
So now you got 17 members. But check this out. You really got more than that, right?
Because they're going to give you their 5 leads too.
Before that, those 56 leads, a third of them are going to bring someone with them. So really you have like 68. Now you got another 20 some people that bought, plus they're going to give you 4 more leads. And that's multiplication. That's why the cost per lead doesn't matter. It's entry. It's just the cost of entry into this funnel. And next month, by the way, this never stops multiplying. The first month never stops. Second month, now you're compounding more multiplication and you keep going.
Yeah.
And eventually, this is the magical part, because you're in a small community, 5-mile radius, eventually you'll have some guy get the same text from 2 people, 3 people. And eventually it's just like, I got to go in.
Well, they're getting the text they're getting is from you though, isn't it? So they would be getting 3 texts from you.
Yeah, but like, let's say you knew Corbin May and you knew Brittany Welk. So you may get a text this month that Corbin May's hooked you up with this. And then in 2 weeks, you may get something that Brittany Welk.
Got it.
So now you're like, dude, so Corbin and my friend Brittany are working out here? What is this place?
Yeah.
They're both working out there?
I like that. I like that a lot.
Infinite return. It's a waste to not do it.
Well, what you're describing is the way that you run an ad once, and then you allow, and then you just continue to multiply off of the ad.
But the cool thing is the next month it just compounds.
Right. So Mike,
now budget's never an issue. You marketing costs should never matter, because when you do it this way, the value of a new member is so much infinitely greater than the cost to acquire them.
Well, so Mike, what do you? The question that a gym owner would ask me is, doesn't it get awkward if I ask them like, hey, just who are the 5 people putting down on this list, and then I walk out of the room and I come back in and there's nobody on the list. But hey, you didn't want to put anybody on. How does that go? Like that feels like the.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It rarely ever happens. And you tell me what the trade-off is. Is that awkward moment so uncomfortable that you'd rather not have that than have all the other leads? Or would you be okay with having a few of those awkward moments in exchange for 4 leads times everyone else you sold?
100%. I'm with you. What I'm trying to do is help the person listening to this to take the step, to go from that does sound like a good idea. Maybe I'll do it when, I don't know, the sun sets over the mountain at 6 p.m. one day.
No big deal. You make it no big deal. You go, hey, Dr. Sean, that's cool. It's not a big deal. I'll keep these gifts for you on reserve. And then in a week or 2, if you decide you want to activate them, no big deal. Fair enough? Yes? Cool. That's it. Don't make it a big deal. It's not huge. It's small. Like, it was just extra.
Right. I love
It's like the lady that asks you, with your change, if you'd like to donate to Children's Hospital. Like, you could say no, and it's not weird. Like, just while we're here.
Right. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. So now the next part of this conversation goes to this. There's now people in front of you and you're trying to get them to go from, my friend gave me a pass to come in and try the gym, or my friend gave me these gifts and told me to come and meet with you. I'm coming to meet with you. Why should I join this place? And the topic of price comes up and they're like, that's a lot of money. I think that there's a few things that you can speak to that would happen before that happens that would be really valuable for people to be thinking about, because I think that most people who sell, they anticipate and fear the moment of that's expensive because they have failed to discuss the things before that moment that make that moment a nothing burger.
Okay. So you got to first isolate. When somebody says it's too expensive or I can't afford it or whatever, they might mean one of a few different things. And if we go to solve the wrong one, we're dead in the water. So, for example, let's say I was going to sell you on working with me. Okay. And I charge for consulting, which you shouldn't do this. You should work with my team because honestly, they're better than me in a lot of areas anyway. But if you wanted to work specifically with me, I charge $2,500 an hour, minimum 4 hours. So that's what it would be to consult with me for half a day, right? 10 grand. But if you were to say to me, yeah, man, that's too expensive, or it's a lot of money, or I can't afford that, or whatever it is, I got to isolate. Now, just so I know, when obviously sounds like price is a holdup here, is it that you think it's too expensive, meaning it's not worth paying that money, which is okay, you can tell me that, or is it that you don't have the money, or is it that it's just more than you expected and you weren't prepared for? Which one is it? And now they start isolating. Yeah, I mean, now it's great, right? Because now that I got the money. I just can't justify spending it all on that right now. Okay, cool. So it's not that they can't afford it. So because if they couldn't afford it, now we have to look at payment plans and maybe we could break things up. But we don't have to do that. Mm-hmm. Now we have to go back to what's the issue. And now the issue's one of the 4 areas. First, let's break it down. Is it where you weren't expecting that, or is it that you think it's too expensive, meaning it's not valuable? So now you break it down again. Okay, so it's not that you can't afford it. Is it that you didn't expect it to be this much, or is it that you just can't justify the cost? Now you isolate again, right? Now they go, yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect, and so I thought it was going to be a couple grand, 10 grand. I'll probably have to go back and think about it. Okay, well, if you were going to do it, how would you justify it? Well, yeah, I mean, you guys do a good program. Obviously it works. Okay, cool. So it's not that they think I'm too expensive. It's just that they didn't expect it. Here, I can decide on doing payment plans again if I want, right? To help them meet their expectations and go from there. Now, if they say, yeah, dude, it's just, no, it's not that. I figured it would be somewhere around there. I just wasn't sure. It's just, I mean, I'm getting this, I'm already doing this. Okay, got it. So they think it's too expensive for what they get. Now that I've isolated, now I know that there's 4 things I got to go into. There's a lack of certainty in one of 4 areas. By the way, this goes into anything, fitness, any sale, doesn't matter. So do it parallel to you guys. Number 1, it could be I'm not certain in the product. So for example, you want to add 15 pounds of muscle and I want to sell you into my cycling program. Maybe you're not sold that I'm going to get you there. And if that's the case, I shouldn't sell you, right? Because it's probably not going to get you there. But let's say I know I can get you there because you want to lose 15 pounds and prepare for a triathlon. I think the cycle class is going to be great for you, right? So 1, you may not be certain that this program is what's going to get you there. Number 2, you may not be certain in me. I've said a few things and usually it's weak words like, yeah, here at Loud Rumor Fitness, we try to get you in great shape and we try to do this. And, some of the people that we do this and most of the time. So that's a lot of vague
soft
terminology, again, soft talking, passive talking, right? As opposed to here at Loud Rumor Fitness, what we do for every single person that walks in the room is X, Y, and Z. Here's exactly how we get there. And here's how it's going to work for you. First, we do this, and then this, and that'll happen by this date. When that happens, there's no lack of certainty in you. But when you speak the opposite of that, which is honestly how most people speak, most people are passive, there's lack of certainty in you. Could be lack of certainty in the company, right? I do like spin. I like spinning. but I don't like the studio. Like, I wish there was more this, or I wish there was more that. I felt like the instructing was a little bit low energy. The music was weird, right? Whatever it is. So I like the model. I like you. I don't like the company. And then 4, and this is most likely the issue in a lot of cases, they're not certain in themselves.
Dude, you're speaking my language. We did an entire podcast on those 4 certainties. I love it. Keep going.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Episode 005. Yes.
I love it. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, 4th ones are not certain in themselves. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I commit to it. I failed in the past. I quit every time, my schedule, whatever it is. So now that you know that they think it's too expensive, now you have to find out where the lack of certainty is, because if you have all certainties up to a high level, well, then they're never going to think it's too expensive. Mm-hmm. See, a lot of people that are listening, I want everyone to remember this. There's a difference between I can't afford it and I'm not going to get it. This country, the average American, has $5,331 in credit card debt. This is as of the end of 2019, which was a good economy, right? So end of 2019, $5,331 in credit card. That's what they're carrying, okay? The average person lives paycheck to paycheck. Now, you got people like me that doesn't have any credit card debt. So that means there's some people with $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in credit card debt, right? Now, here's the kicker. More than 80% of that credit card debt, of the average American's credit card debt, is on non-essentials.
Consumer debt.
Entertainment, shit you don't need, right? So what you're telling me is, if you went into debt to get 80% of the things you have in life, that means you bought things that you couldn't afford because you wanted it. So when someone to me says, I can't afford it, that doesn't mean you won't get it anyway, because you've been getting everything else.
Yes.
And you can't afford it. So when someone says, I can't afford it, that's not a no. That's okay, well, here's what I do know. You're going to buy some other shit anyway on people that sell you better than me, whether it's an Apple Watch, whether it's a shirt, whether it's an $80 sushi meal, whatever it is, someone's going to sell you better than me on spending money on stuff that's not essential. And at the end of the day, I'm more essential than all those things. And I know that, and I believe it. And this payment that you can't fathom spending right now is eventually going to be in your benchmark to where now it's just normal, like your car payment, which is probably more. Even the difference of what you probably need and have as a car payment is probably more than our membership. Right. So in my head, I can't afford it means nothing.
Yeah. Mike, I had a conversation with a guy this week. Wade, if you're listening, I'm talking about you. He told me on our conversation before we got to anything, my wife and I decided we're not spending any more money until after Christmas. And the next day he bought. And he asked me while he was buying, how do I learn how to sell the way that you sell? It never felt like I was being pushed around. It never felt like I was being baited and switched. I want to learn how to do that. And what you're speaking to is what I call the cost of inaction for the client, which means I took $150,000 of debt to go to chiropractic school with absolutely no certainty that it was going to be worth it on the other side. So I didn't have $150,000 and I still went into debt to do it. When we look at somebody, and I imagine it's the same for you, when I look at a client who's potentially going to buy, it's what is the cost of them not buying? What happens in their life if they don't buy? What happens to the money that they would have used with us? Where are they going to spend it? What is that going to do for their life?
Yeah, they're going to spend it.
100%. And what they came in because they felt a certain way. If they don't buy, they're going to keep feeling that way. It might even compound and get worse. So that's where, to me, when someone tells you I can't afford it, it's not unethical to continue selling them if they really need it and want it.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing. Now I don't know where you stand on this. So just know that I personally am the guy that I can disagree with people and still be friends.
I'm all for. I have friends who voted for different candidates, feel differently on abortion. I'm good with it.
Yeah. So what I'm going to say, and you might agree with me, I don't know. I just know a lot of fitness people agree with the opposite. A lot of people like prescription selling, where, they say like a doctor tells you to do something, you just do it, right? Well, the answer is actually not right. More than 58% of people that are recommended to do checkups, checkups is over 30 over. I have the exact stats. I'll get you the exact stats. Just know that it was 30-something% of people that should be getting annual checkups aren't getting them. Mm-hmm. it was over a 40-something% of people that are told they need to do some dental work, don't do it. And then
Guilty.
For surgeries, if it's not life-saving or whatever, more than 58% of people postpone surgeries. They hold off. So when people say, by the way, my cousin's a surgeon. He's a general surgeon. He's asked me, how can I sell better? I have people that I'm telling them to do a surgery and they're not doing it. And it's driving me nuts. So they're using the example of when a doctor tells you to do something, you just do it, right? No, that's not fun. I'm sorry, I didn't mean curse. That's not right.
Curse. You can curse. It's okay when it comes
Okay. That's not right? And so in reality, the truth is people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want. That's why we have credit card at 8% non-essential. That's why everyone's got flat screens in their house, but they're not getting that dental work done. That's why everyone, So here's two things that'll blow it, right? Totally blow that out of the water. So the Apple doesn't sell what you need because you can get a cheaper version. They sell the most expensive version of everything. The most expensive mobile watch or a smartwatch, the most expensive phone, the most expensive tablet, most expensive stylus, the most expensive AirPods or earbuds, laptop, computer. They sell the most expensive version of everything. You don't need to have the Mercedes of everything, every one of those things especially, right? But they're doing $2 trillion a year. That's what they're worth right now. The net worth's $2 trillion. Can I blow your mind real quick before I get into something else here?
Yeah.
Do you know how much a trillion is?
It's 1,000 billions.
Dude, 1,000 billions. Dude, and check this out. So if I were a million, just to give an idea, $100,000. Here's the difference between a guy that makes $100,000 a year and $1 million a year. How many days or in time would you think 100,000 seconds is?
Wow. Quick math? I mean, I could do the math on it. 100,000 seconds, I would guess that's a day.
It's a day. It's right. It's 1.2 days. Now, what about a million seconds?
Well, that's going to be 12 days.
Yeah, it's about 11 and a half days, right? What do you think about a billion seconds?
It's going to be, 120 days?
It's over 30 years. That's the difference. Yes, do the math on it. It's amazing.
I believe you.
The difference between a million
because
and
10 million would have been,
The difference between a million and a billion is 11 days and 31 years. A trillion's over 30,000 years.
Well, it's the math that you're doing there is every human on the planet, kids and elderly included, in India living in the slums, everybody reaches in their pocket and gives Apple $120 a year.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we know how much money they make off of things that people want and don't need, we can probably squash the fact that people buy more of what they want than they need, considering they are the wealthiest company in their category and one of the top 4 companies in the world.
Well, and Mike, how would you, maybe I don't want to take you too off topic, so just tell me, we'll get back to that. I don't think Apple sells products. I think Apple sells status.
Sell a feeling.
Yes, they sell a feeling, they sell status. And that, I think that's why people buy it. They don't want to feel as though they're not high status.
Right, exactly. But again, do you need status or do you want status?
You want status, 100%. We make fun of the guy in the other room right now because he has a Samsung. I'm like, what'd you film that on, a potato? Every time he shoots a video.
Yeah, I mean, a monk doesn't need it. It's not like air. A monk doesn't need it. You don't need it, but you want it. You want to be significant. So it's a major human desire is to be significant, right? And so that's why you now here's another interesting thing that'll crush all your thoughts. Okay. The average fitness studio owner wants to target people that are over 25, preferably over 30.
I was gonna say 35 is our age.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with it and you should continue to target it. But the reason that most people target them is because they believe they have more money and they're established and they could probably afford something like this. Apple's target demographic is 18 to 35 years old.
Is that because they want to keep them for 70 years?
No, it's because they're the ones that spend shit on what they want more than anybody else. See, once you get in your 40s, it becomes about the kids. You know, you do what you have to do, and you have enough conversation with your kids about the value of a dollar. You start to finally believe it yourself. But as a kid, you don't.
That depends on what you tell your kid the value of a dollar is. I think we have different conversations about the dollar in our house than maybe many households.
Yeah, but these kids, you got 19-year-olds walking around with a $400 Apple Watch on. You got 17-year-olds that are spending $6 on a burger, right? So the point is, don't think that people that are older have more money, because it doesn't matter. More people get in credit card debt than don't in their early 20s to get shit what they want. And they buy shit more expensive than your membership. In fact, they could probably pay your membership off over the course of a year with just a laptop and phone that they bought.
And I want to make sure that I say something to this for a second, because I want to make sure the audience is not getting confused with you saying, put people into debt to work with you. They're willing to go into debt and destroy their credit. It's not that. It's those people who you're describing are going to spend that money somewhere.
They're doing it anyway.
And
they're doing it anyway.
And it should be where they can make their life better with you.
Yeah. It's the same thing as when you see a kid, I see a kid that has potential and they're in school and they're smart, but they're not working their best. And so they're failing. And what does everyone say? Dude, look, you got to be there anyway. While you're there, just do your best. You got to be there anyway. Dude, you're going to spend the money anyway. While you're spending it, just spend it on the best shit. Like, spend it on stuff that's actually good for your life. You're spending it anyway. You got to know they're going to buy things. They're going to spend that money. And so in my world, I believe that my community is fantastic. And I bet you the gym owners and fitness studio owners and professionals that are listening believe their community is fantastic and supportive and uplifting. And I don't know too many people that really work out more often that don't do better in other areas in their life, whether it's work, they earn more money, whether it's family, they do more activities with their kids, vacations, they feel more comfortable going to the beach and on pools, and they live longer, they have less disease, medical bills go down. I mean, you could justify that you're helping them pay. See, I don't think anyone's buying a membership.
Agreed.
We had I was in Miami visiting a studio owner that we work with, and this was back in January. And I'm there to talk with him. I wasn't there to do anything other than just meet with him while I was in town. And he had somebody come in. He's like, "Oh, you mind if I go take it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, of course. It's a prospect. Go." I'd be a hypocrite if I told you that's not me instead. So he goes, but I'm hearing it. It's right there. I can hear the conversation. And he's not doing a bad job, but he's not doing a good job. He's selling her. It's $150 a membership. And she goes, "Yeah, it's just too much money." He starts saying, "Well, if you break it down per class, it's like $11 a class."
He's trying to convince her she's wrong.
Yeah, he's trying to convince her she's wrong, and he's trying to make the $11 per class sound rational. Like he's rationalizing it.
Yeah, he's trying to justify
it. Right, but like we talked about, when it's a want, it's an emotional response. And so I had to interrupt because I thought it would be a good teaching lesson. Him. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I had to, because, it's my job. I'm here to grow a studio. I'd be hip. I'm sitting here watching him go down. I had to go in.
What do you walk out and say, "Hey, I'm this guy's coach," or do you say, "I'm the general manager"? How do you walk out and say something?
I say, "Hey, how you doing? My name's Mike. I actually work with." I do.
Okay.
Okay. "Hey, my name's Mike. I actually work with." "You are?" She goes, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm sorry for interrupting. I was overhearing and I wanted to jump in. Is that okay?" She goes, "Yeah." And I go, well, why are you even here? Because $11 for, even if it's $1 a class, it doesn't matter. Why do you even want to work out in the first place? And she goes, "I just want to get in better shape." Well, everyone wants to get in better shape. There's not a person in planet that says, "I actually want to get in worse shape." Everyone wants to be in better shape. But why is that important? Like, why? What happened? What triggered you? And she goes, "Well, I'm actually starting to babysit my grandkids. My daughter got a job and now she's got to, go to work. And so I'm babysitting throughout the day, and keeping up with them is hard, and they like going for walks on the beach. And I like taking them. That's what my mother used to do for me. And it's getting harder to keep up. There's a lot of hills. There's a lot of hills where they were." And I said, "Got it. So that's why you're doing it." She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Now that's a beautiful reason. So let me ask you this. It's $150 a month, right?" She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "I don't want you to look at it as you're paying $11 a class. I understand where you're going, because that's actually smart. And I think a lot of people do look at it that way. But I want you to look at it as you're paying $5 a day to have that life. That's it. Whatever people are normally paying $5 a day for in their world, you're paying $5 a day to be able to do those walks. You're paying $5 a day to be able to have your kids say one day, grandma kept up.
That's right.
We had a hard time keeping up with her. You pay $5 a day for that. And I know what we do here gets people there. I've seen it, which is why I had to interrupt. Can I just ask one question? He goes, yeah. Could you make sense of paying $5 a day for that life, or is that just too expensive? And she goes, well, yeah, I mean, of course, $5 a day is good. And I go, well, then do that. And here's the thing. Just spend $5 a day for a couple months. After a couple months, if you don't know for certain that this was the best decision you made, like I do, you can cancel.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do, could you justify you'll probably keep paying $5 every day? She goes, yeah. And I go, 2 months, give us 2. Fair enough? Yes. Welcome to Arce. Right? That was it. Done.
Mm-hmm. Well, you gave her 2 things. Number one is you stopped talking about the money and the product, and you started talking about the exchange of money for a life, which is totally different than the product. And the second thing that I think is important is I think that a lot of people who jump into that situation, the buyer, are thinking about, do I want to spend $150 every month for the rest of my life to do this? I don't know. And you gave her an out. You gave her the stop thinking about the rest of your life and think about 2 months. And your total risk here is $300.
No, $5 a day.
Right. Well, right. $5 a day for 2 months.
I know, but she's not going to hear that. She's thinking $5 a day for 2 months.
Right. And it's
right.
That's a much smaller risk than $5 a day for the rest of her life.
Yeah. Yep. Or $300 or $150 a month for the rest of her life.
Yes. Yes. So Mike, once you go to talking about the value of life as compared to the value of the product, that allows you to have much different conversations with people. And one of the things that I've heard from people who try to sell is that they want to avoid trying to be a psychologist. How do they have conversations about life and not become like and why is that important? And why is that important? And why is that important? Please lay down on my couch and tell me.
Well, the reason it feels that way is because you're not natural.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't done it enough towards fluid. So it's going to feel like that for people that, so it's a language. I'm fluent in Spanish. Okay. But I'm not fluent in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I speak in Spanish, I don't have to think and translate and I just speak Spanish. But Italian, I have to, before I say something, I have to think, I have to translate. And then sometimes I say the wrong word or the way I say it, the emphasis. I'm not able to focus on the delivery because I don't have the words down.
Mm-hmm.
But like an actor should memorize a script. A singer should memorize the lyrics before singing because when they do, they can focus on just the delivery, right? And that's why they call actors sell the scene, right? So you can't sell the scene because you got the words right. Otherwise, you and I could have been the Godfather. We sell the scene. The words are the afterthought. It's everything. It's how it was delivered. You forget you're watching an actor that's got cameras on him. You're in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're selling, if you're not getting reps in, dancing won't look fluid either.
Right.
If you're not getting the reps in, the piano won't sound fluid either. You got to get reps in. And yeah, you're gonna be awkward in the beginning, and you're gonna feel like that in the beginning, and that's with everything. That's how riding a bike is. But eventually, once you get it down, it's like riding a bike. Mm-hmm. And it's not weird. And you're just in the movie. And so I ask that question all the time. I ask why. I don't feel like a psychiatrist. I don't feel like a therapist because I'm just having a conversation.
Yeah,
in fact, I do people that matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I genuinely am interested in people, right? So, if you and I were out to lunch and we're just talking and we're not here to, do a show for a bunch of people that are wanting to learn from us, I'd probably be like, how'd you get into this, man?
Mm-hmm.
Really? What made you do that? And you tell me and I'd be like, but like, why that? Like, cause you were already doing this. Why didn't you just do this? I just genuinely want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more I know you, the more I can relate to you. I'm not even wanting to sell you anything. It just, man, how much better would our conversation be if I know who I'm talking to?
If we weren't talking about our favorite colors and the team that we watch, if it was actually substance-based conversation. But I think the problem that people run into with that, and you talked about it earlier, there's a lot of fear around, well, I disagree with you about that thing that's really important to you. Can we still be friends? Of course. How are you supposed to expand your own human if you can't have conversations about people you disagree with?
Yeah, 100%. And so when I'm helping someone get in shape, like Jane, here's the thing. I fought for 12 years.
Fought?
Okay.
Like mixed martial arts, fighting, boxing?
Martial arts, boxing, and taekwondo, and just general MMA stuff. And so in boxing, it's the jab. In taekwondo, it's the side kick. In Muay Thai, it could be like a tap, right? In wrestling, it could be a tap as well. But no matter what, there's things that you do before you really get into the fight just to feel the other person out. So in boxing, the jab, you're not going to knock someone out with a jab, especially in the first round, right? The only reason you're doing the jab, I want to see, where does your head go when I do this? Does it go back? Does it go to the side? Which side? Does it go down? Your hands go up? Do you expose your stomach?
Mm-hmm.
Does one hand go up? Do you expose the other side of your face? What's your thing when I jab? And once I start doing more of these, I'm able to start catching on. And now I know what I can't do and what I can do. And so questions are jabs in sales. And if I feel you out and you're not giving me, we're not engaging like that, then I'm going to move on to a different thing. We're just going to move on. But if you're answering the questions like Jane was doing, I'm going to keep asking more questions. We're having a good conversation. She's answering. We're comfortable. She's going through. She's painting the picture for me of her kids and her mom. So I'm going to keep going. Why not? It's the way you communicate. We're communicating just fine. But if she was like, yeah, no, I really don't want to get into that. Yeah, no big deal. Or if I said, why do you want to get in shape? If she goes, honestly, I just want to be in better shape. Yeah, but there's got to be a reason. Why? Not really. I just really want to get in shape. Okay. Then I'm going to drop it. I'm not going to keep digging.
Right.
Like, got it. Okay, well, perfect. And you know how much in shape you want to be. What's the goal? Right? So I'm going to move somewhere else. But the same thing, that jab, just because it's supposed to be jab, jab, hook, or this is cross, but just because it's supposed to be that doesn't mean I'm going to do that. It might mean jab, 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 and then hook. It might mean jab, 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 low blow, right? It might be jab, 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 kick. It might be 100 things. But the point is, it starts with the jab.
Mm-hmm. And
you gotta start with asking questions, and then don't be a psychiatrist. Like, you're not. So just have conversations where they're at, where they want to be, not so that you can help them, with their thoughts and their feelings, but so that you can identify if you can solve her problem. Number one, because if you can, you shouldn't sell it. And if you can solve her problem, well, then do it. You're obligated. Like, because here's the thing: if she walks out the door, if you don't sell her, you get good at whatever you practice, including not making decisions. If she came in and did a trial, got pitched, and didn't join, she's less likely to go do a trial somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's intimidating for her, because she practices that. But if you can get her to say, you know what, fine, let's give it a shot, she's going to do more of that in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good decision. You're not telling her to do cocaine. You're telling her to get fit, to get exercise, which is great for the mind, body, soul, all of that, right? So usually good habits attract more good habits. A person that starts drinking usually starts smoking, right? And then it keeps going. Then they start staying up late. Then they wake up late. They eat unhealthy, right? Bad habits attract bad habits. Good habits attract good habits. Once somebody starts working out, usually they start eating better. Usually they start drinking more water. Usually they go out less to eat, right? That just happens. And so I know that if I can get you to do this one thing, I'll change your life.
Mm-hmm.
But if I let you walk out the door, you just keep expanding what you've been doing, which is what is the opposite of why you're here in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. Mike, one of the questions that we get from prospective clients all the time that leads us to referring them out and sending them to look at companies like yours, and perhaps we should have a better white glove handoff when that kind of stuff happens. We can talk about that. Is they want to learn more about how to acquire members in mass. And while we can help them with that once they're working with an audience of people in front of them, that is not where Active Life shines. We are not a great ad generation company. We're not a great company when it comes to acquiring the member. We are a great company when it comes to expanding the member you've already acquired, improving the value of the service in the gym, providing better coaching, and then using that to grow the gym. how do people who want to work with a company like yours to reach out and really expand their membership base? I don't want to make it sound like a get rich quick scheme because it's not. Expand their membership base quicker than they would be able to do it on their own. How do they find you?
Yeah, so you just go to loudrumor.com. But really quick, I want everyone listening to know that what we help people with is not just running ads and all that. Mm-hmm. We want you to be well-rounded. We show you guys step by step how to be well-rounded. Advertising, paid ads, that's a line in the water. Have you ever fished before? Have you ever gone like deep sea fishing?
Not deep sea fishing, but yes, I've gone fishing.
Well, so outside of fly fishing, because fly fishing, you're pretty active, right? Like you're constantly flicking the thing out. But normally you put a line in the water and you wait, mm-hmm. right? But what if you want to catch more fish? What else can you do?
You can put more lines in or get a net.
More lines in the water, right? Or a net, right? But more lines in the water. You could have 4 poles. You could have 12. You could have 15. You could have 30, right? And I think what a lot of people are doing is they don't have enough lines in the water. Have you ever seen the movie or the show Undercover Billionaire?
Yes. I'm borderline ashamed to tell you I've been watching all of these shows. I'm like, how much time has this guy spent on TV? But yes, I've seen
it. Yeah. Well, Undercover Billionaire is an amazing show. And anybody who hasn't watched it, I recommend you watch it. But they take this guy that's like his company's worth billions of dollars or something like that. And then, he wants to prove that, he can make it again. And so he says, drop me off anywhere in the country, and give me $100, a cell phone with no contacts, so I can't use my contacts, change my name so that I can't use my name, and give me a pickup truck. It could be a beat up pickup truck, and that's fine. And I'll make $1 million business inside of 90 days. And he had so many lines in the water. He would go, and first thing he was like, okay, I'm going to post on all the things that I can do to get money. And so I'll clean houses. I'll go use my truck for things, scrap metal, tires, whatever. He just kept posting things that he'd do, and he looked for other things, and he had all these lines in the water. Then he'd start getting phone calls. Then he had enough money to buy a beat up car for like $700 that he ended up flipping for $1,500. But he didn't just buy it and then like make a bunch of calls to sell it. He bought it, cleaned it up real nice, put a sign, put it on a busy street, and then went to go make money elsewhere. While he's making money elsewhere, he's getting phone calls about the car. So he's got all these lines in the water. And in the business of anything, including fitness, we're one line, but what are you doing for referrals? What are you doing for strategic partnerships in the area? What are you doing for grassroots marketing? What are you doing for just general content? What are you doing for win-back campaigns? All these, there's so many ways to get people to join your company and refer your company. And there's so many ways, and most people just go to Facebook ads. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Honestly, it really is. It's probably one of the best sparks you could put into your business. But man, the world was grown before 2007. So mm-hmm. Facebook's not the answer. It's just a really good line. So I want everyone to know, if you're really wanting to work with us, number one, we don't work with people that are like, if you're like lukewarm, you're like, okay, we'll give it a shot, see how it goes. Like, it's not going to work. Like, I'm going to be too intense. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be too focused on you succeeding that you're not going to even like me. You're going to be overwhelmed. What we work with are people that are hungry. The ones that are like, look, you tell me it works, I'll do it. I'll do it exactly the way you tell me to do it. We'll plug it in. I just want to be successful. I want those two things. I want the business to grow, hit capacity without me having to run the business. So I can keep scaling that over and over. I say, yeah, wealthy in this industry, that's what I want. I'll do anything it takes, whatever it takes. That's who we work with. Those people come to me, will change your life. And we'll show them how to be well-rounded while also doing a lot of the stuff for them, but showing them how they can get their people to do a lot of this stuff and just have tons of lines in the water, never have to worry about how do I get a customer again, because multiplication is a beautiful thing.
I love it. Mike Arce, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Dr. Sean. I appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Active Life Podcast. If you did, please be sure to head to wherever you listened to it and give us a quality review, as well as 5 stars if you can spare them. If you want more from us, feel free to follow all of our social media accounts at Active Life Professional, Active Life RX, and Dr. Sean Pastuch on Instagram. Remember, at Active Life, we believe that the healthcare clinic of the future is the gym, And the healthcare provider of the future is the coach. We also believe that that future is now.